What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this POV review by Autobahn. My name is Martin and this is my BMW M5 E60 V10 manual. Well, it's ours, of course. So Max and I got this car as an investment. We sold the F430, or we traded it in for this BMW M5 E60 because we thought this is going to be a highly desired collectible. There have only been just over 1,000 of these made, and they were all sold in the Northern American market. Go check out the video we did earlier with this car and we will talk you through everything we did with it, what we've experienced with it. Of course, we've had engine issues, and just go watch that video and you'll know everything about this specimen. And our goal with the car is to make it the nicest M5 E60 manual in the world, and eventually we're going to sell it. So yeah, we are going to ask the highest possible price for it. So if you're looking for the nicest E60 M5 manual in the world, this will be it in a few months, and you will be able to buy it at a steep price, of course, it being an investment. Just to summarize, I got my E92 low mileage M3 with a manual gearbox. Absolutely love that car. And then we came across this and I thought this would be so cool to have its big brother sitting next to it in the garage. And it also just the manual big naturally aspirated engine experience to me feels so freaking cool. It's so old school, and that's what I love about these cars. They are just modern enough to be very nice to drive even on the Autobahn at high speeds, but they are also old school in a engineering sense. Just big fat engines, possibly with a manual gearbox. You could also get the SMG, of course, which has been sold like 20 times more than this manual. So for many people the SMG will be the nicer gearbox, but we'll talk about that a little later on. So we have these beautiful M design wheels. I love this design. It's super clean and simple. It's not black, it's not 25-inch. I love it. Wrapped around at a modern tire Michelin Pilot Sport 4S 255 section in the front, 19-inch. How do these cars have such an ugly brake caliper? Why didn't they do anything about that back in the day? It's just black and ugly. Not really like that. What I also don't really like is the fact that, you know, as I said, it's an American market product, and we still have the mirror glass of the American market, which is absolutely useless. It's like a magnifying glass, and we are going to have these replaced with European units. So the rear bumper and the front has already been converted to EU spec, which is something I love. And of course we brought this car to Gijsbertse BMW and S85 V10 specialist, and they made sure the car is in an A++ shape in a technical sense. So beautiful quad exhaust. I think the design of the car is really beautiful. I love this car. Just the taillight design, the M5 bumper design, hugging those quad pipes. Not too large. I love that. So when this car was introduced, 2004, it's a Chris Bangle design, of course. And Chris Bangle cars were absolutely hated on when they were released. So the 5 Series, the 7 Series, I feel like really nobody liked them except for me. I was, I think, 14 or 15 back then, and my neighbor got a new 5 Series and I thought, wow, that is the most beautiful saloon car I've ever seen. And I only read negative comments on these cars saying they were so ugly and they looked like dog shit, and I thought, what are they talking about? I love them. And maybe the same thing is happening nowadays. Maybe like a 14-year-old nowadays loves the new G90 M5 and thinks this is just for grandpas. So if you're 14 or 15, comment down below, what do you think of the new G90 M5 compared to this? I'm honestly very interested in your opinion. Okay, so let's open her up and let's watch how that V10 sits in there. So there we have it, the S85 5-liter V10, 507 horsepower, 520 newton meters, 0 to 100 4.7 if you have the SMG gearbox. This manual has a 0 to 60 time of 4.7 seconds, so probably 4.9 0 to 100, but you know, I don't really care about that. So the 6-speed manual is a ZF unit and comes from a 550i basically, and the manual was introduced a year later than the M5 in America. So I don't have any data about the weight, which I'm personally very interested in, since this is a 6-speed, the SMG is a 7-speed, and it does, of course, this doesn't have a roboticized unit to operate the gearbox, because the SMG basically is just a robot operating a 7-speed manual gearbox. So this should be quite a bit lighter, and it does feel like that. I've driven quite a few of these E60 M5s, and when I drive this I really feel like it's properly lighter. So I would estimate it's like 60 kilos, something like that, 70 kilos maybe. So the interior spec. This is like an 80s cigar club, I think. The burgundy seats and interior combined with the wooden trim. I mean, as a collectible, I think it's a perfect spec because it's so weird. There is another one of these in Germany. Now, of course, you guys know Mr. M539, who makes lovely videos about the technique of these cars. And he also owns one of these with the same interior spec. So I think BMW in the Americas just ordered like 10 of the same cars to make it a bit cheaper, I guess. So let's start up that V10. It's only 1.5 degrees outside, so yeah, it's going to be a bit slippery, I guess. So let's hit the iDrive button and then we can check out the mDrive menu. Now, I love this. This was so revolutionary back when it was introduced, this system. And I love the video that Jeremy Clarkson did on Top Gear with this car. You know, at first he was completely hating it and it kept shouting at the system, but then he pressed the magical M button and it really came alive. I love that video, how dramatic those Top Gear videos were back in the day. I love that. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We are going to press the M button, and then ESC is also going into MDM, M dynamic mode, and we're in P500 Sport. Now I also did testing with P400, so as you can see you have P400 400 horsepower, P500 500 horsepower, and P500 Sport. So P400 definitely is a different engine map, you know, less power, probably something to do with valve timing and stuff like that. P500 you have 500 horsepower, and P500 Sport is just with more aggressive throttle mapping, but it's supposed to have 507 horsepower, so I guess these are American horses, which are always a bit stronger for some reason. Now we also have an EDC button right here, which you can also configure in your M setting. So there is comfort, normal, and sport. We're going to keep it in comfort because I think in sport it's just a little too rough. Now the 6-speed manual, that's what this video is mainly about, the difference with the SMG, right? It is not the slickest, nicest, smoothest gearbox in the world, and that's an understatement. Let me first turn off this horrendous system, which is for the dynamic side bolsters, which is something they thought was very cool. If you enter a corner, it will like blow up the outer bolster, but it's just very annoying and it doesn't really do anything. But the 6-speed manual, it's a 6 at best. And I don't mean in terms of gears, but I mean like score wise, 6 out of 10. it's okay-ish. It's the same as in the E92 M3. I don't really like that gearbox too, but for me, having a big fat engine with a manual always beats having a DCT or an SMG or whatever. I just feel like I'm in control. I have more to do. There's more fulfillment in a perfect downshift or a perfect upshift. I just love that. And I just love how a naturally aspirated engine feels when your toe hits the throttle pedal. You feel like you have a direct connection to the engine and to the wheels with your right foot, and that's something a turbocharged engine will never have. I know Porsche and BMW are always like, yeah, it has the reaction time of a naturally aspirated engine, but it never feels like one. Never. He was enjoying that. As would I. Can you imagine just going out for a bike ride and then an E60 M5 turns up? I feel like I'm covering a Pokemon game or something. So the MDM mode, it doesn't allow for any movement basically. I don't know why it's there. It's doing virtually nothing. I'm not turning off ESC altogether in these conditions. It's super cold, it's super wet, so yeah, let's be safe. But every time I drive this car, it feels special to me. It really does. I freaking love this thing, and I love the fact that I now have the E92 and this E60 M5, which if you would have told me when I was 16 that I would have either one of those, I would have been just the happiest little boy on earth. Having the both of them sitting in the garage really is a dream come true, and I'm so thankful that it all happened because of this channel and of what we do. Let's do a little pull. Oh my god, it sounds good. To 200, 9.4 seconds, and we also did a completely bone stock SMG M5 which did a 9.28. so that difference, I would have expected that difference to be a lot bigger. And there we go, top speed at a little over 270 on the speedometer, and it was 260 GPS. Now the American models hardly ever got the M drivers pack, which raised the top speed to 300, I guess. So yeah, this one doesn't have it either, but we are going to send the ECU map to Evolve, and then they are going to remove the limiter for us. So then we can truly discover the top speed of the manual E60 M5. Now I also did a comparison with P400 setting, and then it did a 13.5 second 100 to 200. So next thing that we're going to do is swap the brakes, because I feel like they're not really all that nice anymore, and if we remove the top speed limiter, we really do need very good brakes, because especially at like 300 these are just insufficient. So that's something we're definitely going to do. What we're also going to do is swap out the air filters and the plenum for Venturi units. So that means that we get that sort of M5 CSL sound, the car that BMW has made one demo or development car and we are going to sort of replicate that. So we're really looking for mods that only improve the car. Other than that, we are going to keep it completely OEM, because as I said, for us it's an investment, it's a collectible, and we are going to treat it like that. So everything has to be A++. That was it for the video with this car. It is going to be faster, it's going to be a bit louder with the plenum, so go check out those videos when they are released. Thank you guys, bye.